9. Anime endings that ruined everything. An epic anime deserves an epic ending too, but not every anime has the privilege of finishing with a perfect grand finale. There are incredible anime whose endings were so disappointing that they ruined the entire story. Stick with me, because I'm going to show you all those anime where the ending stained the whole series. Come on, who doesn't love a memorable, mind-blowing ending? We all love it. And we all watch anime, read books, watch movies, TV shows, cartoons, and even listen to music just to see those finales that surprise us, move us, and make us fall even deeper in love with the story. But not all of them end with that epic, memorable, phenomenal, fireworks-worthy ending to crown everything. All the anime I'm going to mention here failed at that. Some of them ended without any emotion, with sudden endings that made no sense, or even with endings so bad they had to be corrected with a new adaptation. So get ready to see some of the worst anime endings in history. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and smash that like button to not miss anything and help the project grow. Let's go. Berserk. Oh man, the ending of Berserk wasn't exactly bad, but it was extremely heavy and deeply uncomfortable to watch. Guys, the story was dark throughout the entire anime, showing extremely brutal things, especially what happened to Casca. What that woman suffered has no name, and at the very end she suffered even more. And the worst part, Griffith humiliating Guts in the lowest, most despicable way possible by using Casca in a completely inappropriate, horrific way, driving Guts into a frenzy of rage. It was so bad that Guts literally ripped off his own arm, trying to get revenge on his former ally. But since Guts couldn't take revenge properly, the ending left a very bitter taste in everyone's mouth. It was gut-wrenching, and not to mention the 2016 version didn't even come close to the masterpiece that the 90s version was. It ended up being way, way worse. Akame ga Kill. The anime of Akame ga Kill was on a really good track, almost deserving a perfect 10, but then came the ending and dropped it to a modest 5. Guys, the pacing of the final episodes just didn't work. It was rushed, with huge leaps in the story just to wrap things up quickly. It felt like they had to solve everything in minimal time and ended up steamrolling the plot, skipping major parts of the manga and leaving everything super simplified and rushed. Not to mention that the final fight between Akame and Esdeath had no real emotion and no real stakes, because of all the rushing completely ruining what could have been a truly epic final battle. Soul Eater. Now imagine a confusing ending, where once again they tried to create an original ending out of nowhere. Oh man, if you're going to adapt a story that hasn't ended yet, at least sit down with the original writer and get some real ideas for how the ending should go. Don't just make up absurd nonsense. At the end, Maka saved the day with a random punch that came from who knows where, supposedly representing the power of friendship and courage. Come on, seriously. Sword Art Online. The ending of Sword Art Online had everything an ending should not have. It was a finale without a drop of emotion. Everything felt random and boring, a complete disappointment. All the characters abandoned the feelings they carried throughout the entire anime. And Asuna? She became a fragile, passive character, completely abandoning the fearless girl she once was, the one who would give her life to help the weak and would never leave anyone behind. But the worst was what they did to Kayaba, the villain. They revealed that he had no motivation for his actions, with no explanation for the murderous nightmare he created. There's nothing more disappointing than a villain with no reason behind his madness. Oh wait, there is something worse. This ending. The Future Diary. Everyone loves a sequel, but only when the cliffhanger is done right. And the cliffhanger at the end of The Future Diary wasn't even close to being good. Guys, everything was going amazing. All the mysteries were getting answered beautifully. But then the finale hits with a totally unnecessary cliffhanger. It shows that 10,000 years later, a new diary game begins, leaving everyone completely confused. And the worst part, The answer to that cliffhanger only came out years later in The Future Diary: Redial. And because of that, the original ending made no sense at all, forcing everyone to watch the entire sequel just to understand what was going on. Dragon Ball GT. Dragon Ball GT was another anime that completely failed with the pacing and ended with a finale totally disconnected from the rest. Guys, when it entered the Dragon arc, everyone thought this would be GT's shining moment, and in a way, it really was. But that ending, with Goku sacrificing himself to save the planet, felt way too abrupt. It was like a sudden drop. Everyone was expecting more build-up for the finale, and suddenly, boom, it was over. God, the beginning of GT was already kind of sleepy, and this dry and abrupt ending didn't please many people, you know it. Maybe that's why it never became canon. Full Metal Alchemist. The ending of Full Metal Alchemist was bad for one simple reason. They decided to create an original ending for the anime. Guys, when they started adapting the story into anime, the manga wasn't finished yet, and they didn't want to wait. So they bet on an original ending, but it completely failed. Especially later when Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood came out, following the manga's real ending, and made the first ending look absolutely ridiculous. It's worth watching the anime, but only if you do one of two things. Watch it all the way through and ignore the manga ending, or watch it up until the final episodes, then stop and read the manga ending. Only that way, you won't end up massively disappointed. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Evangelion. What can I even say about an ending that needed 2 more works just to make sense? But let's be honest, that original ending was terrible. Guys, this is an anime with mecha fights, wild action, more explosions than a Michael Bay movie, and then it tries to close everything with cheap philosophy. That just doesn't work. It got so bad that they had to release Death and Rebirth, the end of Evangelion, and even more movies to fix the disaster. It made it very clear that ending was poor and desperately needed improvement. Claymore. Claymore. Why did it have to have such a brutal ending? God, it was going so well with the warriors killing monsters, with such an intriguing story, and then the ending shows up out of nowhere with no justification and everything rushed and messy. Guys, the final episodes of Claymore rush through a mountain of content, but none of it explains anything. Instead of giving real answers, they threw in a nonsensical cliffhanger, leaving everyone with the feeling that there was no real payoff for sticking through the entire anime. It's like you sit there thinking, man, I just wasted my time watching Claymore. Even though it's still an awesome anime. Subscribe.